He's a level-headed young man. They need to kind of, get things under order. I think they've been working at it. The young lady who was appointed apparently is taking care of most of those deficiencies. By now, have already done it. And so I think John, he has a compassion for the people that need that type of help, and that.
Right. You got to understand how to help people, plus understand how to be fiscally responsible.
Right. And I think he can. I think he can handle both.
Welcome back, KSLO. How about this Friday over at the Opelousas Lighthouse Mission? That's this Friday on the 13th at 10 a.m. If you go by, they're going to dedicate the new chapel over at the Lighthouse Mission on 704 West South Street. If you want to go by there and say hello to our good friend that runs it, Mr. Johnny Carrier, who's a great guy. It's a men's shelter.
Oh, you're going to be there?
I'm going to definitely try to be there.
Yeah, because I'm going to be at the Bi-State Fishing Rodeo. I'm just realizing as I speak. Let's see. This is the Saturday, May 7th Morning Advocate, and in the editorial section, they always have some pictures of, and it tells a little story. And this little story here says, they now say that bin Laden was unarmed. And then they show the Twin Towers over in New York City. So were they. In other words, they were not armed when those radicals bombed our nation, and 3,300 people were killed in that one day. And so they were not armed either. So I think it tells a real life story, true life story.
Well, while we're talking about life stories, let's talk about a good friend of ours who passed away this past week. Your cousin, Miss Lois Dupree Harmon, of course, married to Mr. Marion Harmon here in town. Everybody knows Mr. Marion and Miss Lois, I think. She was 88 years old, has lived right here in that Opelousas Prairie area all her life. Went to Lady of Mercy Church right there on that end of town. Her daughter Janice Kedair married to Gerald, and you may know also her son Keith Harmon married to Pam Leger.
Dwayne and Lillian's daughter.
Right, Glenn
and Lillian. I'm sorry.
So anyway, I went by the funeral home a little while and visited with Mr. Marion, and he called for you and I. She passed away. I guess it was on the Friday. I guess that she passed away, and I got the call, and he said, Mr. Marion said, I know you're going to see a lot of people this weekend, and the weekend's a bad time for the obituaries. He says, so I want to call you and Bobby first. So y'all know you're going to run a lot of people this weekend. Let folks know the funeral home will be open on Sunday. So
right.
I went by and visited with the family.
And I had an unusual weekend. Saturday, went to New Orleans to pick up the items that Megan had in her little apartment. She's having to move, and we had to come back with everything because she can't move in her new apartment till June the 1st. So
till the next semester.
So that took care of all day Saturday, and then on Sunday was Mother's Day, so went over to Bourdalouville and got home at 10 o'clock that night because we're going to show you some pictures of our visit to the river. And then Monday I had a crew of people that had volunteered to move all my belongings out of my camp, so it's hard to get them to go. So anyhow, Marion and Keith and Janice, I was with y'all all the way, and I will go have lunch with Mr. Marion.
It was also nice to see the Duplichamp family. Miss Lois is her sister, Miss Helen Duplichamp from the Port Barre area. A lot of the Duplichamps I grew up with, all in that family too. So our condolences.
I was reading in the People in Business section of the Daily Advertiser, and I looked there and I thought I recognized it. Hunter Semino. He went to work with Apex Innovations as a sales representative, a recent graduate, so that's college graduate. That's good news that they are hiring. There is some hiring going on, and that is exceptionally good news because it's kind of discouraging to go through 13 years of schooling because of kindergarten, and then after that at least 4 years of college, and then no jobs. Kind of tough, but here's one that and that's good news. And of course that's Kevin Semino's young son, Kevin and Kathy.
I haven't hit a sponsor yet, so it's time to get after it.
Oh yeah,
Piggly Wiggly. If you live all throughout South Louisiana with this flooding going on, you want to go down to your local Piggly Wiggly to put aside a couple of provisions in case you're going to be helping some friends. A lot of you might be okay, like us at my house. We're probably okay, but we got got a couple of relatives that live in those flood zones that will probably be coming into the house. So go by your local Piggly Wiggly in Opelousas, in Church Point, Rain, Scott, Cecilia, and St. Martinville. Right now, the fresh whole fryers are 79 cents a pound, pork steaks $1.69 a pound, and the sirloin tip roast $2.69 a pound. Go by and see the pig. The pig knows best.
We also took care of Slimco when we mentioned about.
We certainly did. How about some more? How about Carl's Thrifty Way? We'll take care of a few more. You know, with that flood coming up, you want to make sure you got your medicine already ready, because if you got to leave in a hurry, you want to make sure you got everything ahead of time. Go to Carl's, get your prescriptions renewed, get your over-the-counter type medication. You know, a lot of that stuff, you're going around and you moving stuff, you cut yourself, get your little first aid type stuff, your bandages, your contact lens solution. Always use that, because I know a lot of people now, they wear contact lenses, even the young kids. So go by at Carl's and get all that kind of stuff. And of course, gifts right now, you got graduations are happening, first communions are happening. Go by Carl's Thrifty Way. You know, Mother's Day, even though Mother's Day just passed on Sunday, some people haven't gotten a chance to go visit with their mother yet because of business or whatever. They're going to see them. Still got time to go to Carl's Thrifty Way and get some great gifts right here in Opelousas.
Public schools are holding their graduation this Friday night.
Yes,
that
sir.
would be the 13th. And I was in contact with Dr. Johnson, who is the principal over at Opelousas High School, and advised him that it's my plans for them to choose and donate 15 scholarships at $500 each. I've been doing that since 1968. And get all kind of little thank yous. I'm not sure if I told a little story about Ms. Regina Tatum over at Dr. Tate's office last week, but she thanked me. She said, I've been wanting to thank you, and here I am. I have the opportunity today. Thank you, my grandson, who is Reggie Tatum's son, was one of the recipients, so I'm happy to do that. And also at Dr. Tate's office, the Leland Thibodeau, Mr. and Ms. Leland Thibodeau from Church Point, they watched the program and enjoyed, they say. And also at Dr. Tate's, it looked like I knew everybody in the place that day, was Steve and Rose Vidrine at Dr. Tate's office.
There you go. How about this? While we're talking about moving stuff and worrying about the flood, if you need storage to put a lot of those items in, Dixie Storage is your place. Climate controlled units. Your boat, maybe you got to take your boat out because, I mean, the water's going to rise, right? Maybe you got a camper that you've left out at 3 Mile for years.
I brought my pontoon boat home, got it out the water.
That's
It'll float, but then it might float into somebody's building.
Might float down the block and park in their garage and in their living room.
That's right.
So go by Dixie Storage. They can help you with all those type of needs throughout St. Landry Parish. A lot of very high ground, a lot of loading docks, railroad access, their sister company, Dixie One Trucking, that can finish loading and do an inventory control for you.
I have, give me 1 second on that. Right there on the Port Barry, where their office is, on Highway 190, they have several large 18-wheeler trailers, closed-in trailers, for on-site storage. So they can back one of those up to your camp, come back and get it the next day or later that day, and it'll be all full. Park it on high land, and then in 6 weeks or whatever, they'll bring you back to your place, bring it back to that place, and the rental starts all over again.
And don't forget about A+ glass, because afterwards maybe you'll have a little glass work you might have to get done.
Exactly.
And they do all that type of work to reseal everything and redo everything for you. Dixie Storage.
While at J.B. Sandoz a few days ago, a gentleman walks up to me, Mr. Joseph Andrus, and he says, I know you probably don't recognize me, but I've known you, or you've known me because you knew my mama. His mama went by the nickname of Cap, and I remember that name, and of course she was a cook helping mom and daddy in the school cafe for many, many years. Great worker. Thanks for saying hello, and of course he too is one of our viewers of the program.
American Legion Post 45 and the Veterans of Foreign Wars Post 2483 is going to have their annual Memorial Day ceremony after the 10 a.m. Mass at St. Landry Catholic Church right there on North Main Street in Opelousas. That's Sunday, May 29th, right in front of the LaFleur Monument right after Mass. If you want to participate, if you're a veteran, if you got families that are veterans, you just want to come to Mass at 10 a.m., give a call. Ken Thibodeau, 942-2736. And I know they're having the annual St. Landry Catholic Church picnic this Sunday after the 10 a.m. Mass. So if you want to participate in that, give a call to the church office at St. Landry Church and let them know you come, and just give them a head count, and all the food is there.
Okay, let's get on to maybe a few pictures.
We can do that too.
Talked
Here we
about
go.
the flood waters.
Control structures.
This is one of the control structures. This is north of Morganza. This is probably in West Feliciana Parish.
Look at that water chopping.
And that water is just coming through there rapidly. And then that's
The
all
barges
going.
are moving.
That's all getting. That's from the Mississippi water going into the Chafalaya.
What, you saw the Beverly Hillbillies there? Is that what that is?
That must be a picture that Vicky sent to you.
Moving the whole house.
Yeah. And
That's Krotz Springs.
that's in Krotz Springs right there. It shows you how high. Usually you see a good bit of the levee. No levee anymore, I can tell you.
And more of the control structures.
Yeah, and that's a little.
You got showing off your flowers?
Pretty flowers.
At the house?
At the house, yeah.
Man, your landscape architect must be,
It
she
must
does
be
a good
Vicky.
job.
Yeah, she loves that. And this was Mother's Day afternoon after the lunch and everything at her house. She said, let's go riding. And
that's Morganza for
that
sure. Huh?
is the water right there. This is not Morganza. This is, well, yeah, it is.
Looks like it.
That is Morganza. The rest of them aren't.
Okay.
That's one of the structures there.
All those locks and gates.
Yep. And
they're cutting the wheat fast because, you know, there's probably one of the biggest crops of wheat in South Louisiana in years and years, and it's all ready to be cut now.
Right. This picture here, I was actually standing on the old river levee, and of course that's getting ready to really give them trouble with the camps over there.
Okay.
And
the barges.
This is yes, that's along one of the structures, and there's always one or two, but there's several there now.
That's the old river structure there.
Yep.
And I'm still whipping through. You went check everything out.
I'm
Look,
telling
the
you,
water's coming up high right here. They
Yep.
made make some islands out of those little trees that was probably on dry land a week ago.
A week ago. And this is the visitor center at the Sidney Murray Hydroelectric Plant. That's I think that's the furthest north structure that water comes from the Mississippi down into apparently the
and you can see, I mean, they're not opening all the gates yet,
no.
and it's already that rough looking.
And this is Dwayne Buller. He recognized me, came over and said, we talked a while, and he had a young couple with him. I called for him this morning, but I couldn't get their names. And they've been to my camp and all with Ross Hebert.
And sunset over the control structures. And then you had a little flat tire problem.
Yes, sir. Luckily, Danny's Tire World is only a few blocks away from my house. Saturday, I mentioned that we had gone to New Orleans, and this is what I woke up with at the yard. Glad that didn't happen on the highway.
Well, folks, we're going to see you on the other side of 3 on radio and on TV. More pictures and more info.